The first thing we're going to do is grab two different colors of the construction paper. Next, we're going to start our accordion fold. So we're going to fold it over like this in one direction, and then we're going to flip it around, and we're going to fold it back the same way. Try to make sure that the paper lines up so that all the strips are even. We're going to continue this process until all of it is done. You may notice that there's a small little piece that isn't even. That's okay, keep folding it, and later on we're going to cut it off and throw it away. Now we're going to do the same exact thing for the other color of construction paper. Again, we fold it over, make sure it's nice and crisp, flip it over, and then we're going to repeat this process until it's all finished. When you finish folding your paper, it should look like this. This part is optional. If you're able to cut the paper along the folds, you don't need to do this. But if you're a little nervous, you can take a marker or a pencil and you can trace the folds very carefully, nice and slow. That way, when we cut it out, it'll be easier for you to see where you need to cut. Now it's time to cut. We're going to grab our scissors and cut along the folds, or if you decided to draw lines, cut along the lines. Take your time and go slow. We want to make sure that all the strips are as even as possible. Once we get to our last fold, we're going to keep the bigger piece and throw away the smaller piece that's too small. We're going to do the same exact thing for the second piece of construction paper and cut along the lines or the folds of the paper. Remember, if you didn't draw the lines on the paper, that's okay. You can still just keep cutting along the folds like we did in the first paper. I'm just showing you what it would look like if you did draw the lines. And again, when we get to the last fold or line, we're going to cut it off and get rid of the smaller piece. For step 3, we're going to take one strip of each color. We're then going to take our glue and glue the end of one of the pieces. Next, we're going to take our other color and we're going to make an L shape and glue the strip onto the one before. For step 4, we're now going to start folding our strips over the other color. So notice that I had the blue on the bottom, so I'm going to fold that over the green strip first. I want to make sure it's nice and lined up, and then I'm going to do the same thing for the green. You're going to continue this process until you reach almost the end. Now, I put glue on every few strips just to keep it down, but you don't have to do this step. Just keep folding and make sure you go nice and slow so that the sides are nice and even, or as even as you can get it. Sometimes it's not going to be completely even, and that's okay. Once we're almost at the end, we're going to take our glue stick and put glue on each end that is not folded. Once we have our glue down, we're going to take a strip of each color and we're going to glue the strip onto the previous strip. You want to make sure the strips are the same color so it looks even. Notice how some of the strips might not be the same exact size as the one that was on before. That's okay, just try your best to line it up as best as possible. We're going to continue to fold the strips over the other strip just like this until we reach the end again. We're going to repeat these steps until all of our strips are gone. Remember to take your time and go slow. You want to make sure the ends are lined up as much as they can be. Like I said earlier, it's okay if it doesn't, but try your best. Again, once we get to the end, we're going to take our glue and put glue on each of the ends of the strips. We're then going to take another strip and line it up and glue it onto the other one. Then we're going to repeat the process again and continue our folding. Remember to add glue to the ends of each strip again and add more paper. Now you don't have to use all the strips if you don't want to. I'm leaving one strip behind. But if you want to do all the strips, you can. Whatever you choose. Remember, when you're lining your strips up, make sure that the ends are as close to the other as possible. If it's not the same size, that's okay. Once we get to the end and we're not going to add any more strips of paper, we're going to take our glue and put glue on the middle of the folded parts. We're then going to fold each piece to the middle and glue it down. So we're going to do it for one side, and then we're going to add more glue on top, and then we're going to fold the other strip down. Now I noticed I had a little piece that overlapped the top. So what you can either do is you can either add more glue and fold that piece over, just like this. so that way it's lined up and the square is even. If you don't want to do the glue, there's another step. You can flip it over so that way you can see where it overlaps, and you can take your scissors and you can cut it off. Once you're finished, you'll be done with the snake's tail. When you pull it apart, it'll be like an accordion. For step 8, you're going to take the paper that you didn't use yet, and I cut mine in half just so I can use the other half later for something else. You're going to draw an oval on the paper, just like this. You want to make sure it's not too small or too big because we're going to glue it to the snake's tail. Next, we're going to draw ovals for the eyes. And what I did is I drew little pupils inside, but you don't have to, you can always leave them blank just like that. And finally, at the bottom of the oval where the snake's nose would be, you draw 2 little dots. For step 9, we're going to take our scissors and we're going to cut out the oval, or the snake's head. Make sure you take your time and follow the line as best as you can. Once you cut out the snake's head, you can throw the rest of the paper away. For step 10, we're going to take our head and the body of the snake that we made, and we're going to glue the head to one of the ends of the body. After we do that, we're done with our snake, and here we have the final product.